welcome to Labour Lens. I am Sharon Ijason. On this week's edition of the program, we'll be focusing on the MOU signed between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, which ends the more than 19-year dispute between the workers and the federal government. We also have news stories for you. We will be right back.
For nearly 2 decades, Nigeria's public universities have lived on unstable grounds. From lecture halls to hostels, one cycle kept repeating. Negotiations break down, strikes begin, calendars collapse, and students are left waiting. Since 2009, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has embarked on close to 20 nationwide strikes. The most disruptive was the 9-month shutdown in 2020, while major strikes in 2013 and 2022 again paralyzed the system. At the heart of most disputes was the non-implementation of agreements reached with the government, particularly the 2009 Pact, which ASU insisted had been neglected for years. Each shutdown widened the trust gap, drained morale, encouraged brain drain, and left parents and students questioning the future of public higher education. But now, both sides say a reset has begun.
Congratulations and congratulations and to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and we're very grateful as a nation today.
In Abuja, the federal government and ASU formally signed a new agreement designed to draw a line under years of industrial crisis and restore stability to Nigeria's universities. The government describes the deal as a turning point.
This agreement, we're making promise to you today, this agreement will be effective from January 1st, and was effective from January 1st, 2026. The key components include the emolument of university academic staff, which has been reviewed upward by 40% to enhance the morale, improve the quality of service delivery, and the global competitiveness of Nigeria tertiary education institution, and also to reverse brain drain. With regards to the HEN academic allowances, these allowances, 9 in numbers, are now clearly structured, transparently held, and strictly tied to duties performed, thereby promoting productivity, accountability, and fairness.
Under the new agreement, academic staff salaries will see an upward review of 40% effective January 1st, 2026. The package also includes consolidated salary adjustments, structured book and internet allowances, and other welfare components aimed at improving lecturer productivity and reducing the flight of academics abroad. Special allowances have also been approved for senior academics to strengthen research, mentorship, and innovation across universities. ASU says the new framework replaces the long contested 2009 structure and shifts attention to fresh deliverables.
The 2025 renegotiated agreement is the outcome of a prolonged renegotiation that was initiated, like Senator Tejusu said, in 2017 to review the 2009 agreement, and which was to revitalize the Nigerian university system. Our union also wants to specially appreciate the Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Maruf Alausa, for his steadfast support and encouragement to get us to this point. We often disagreed with the minister, but he's an open-minded person, and he always takes arguments that he thinks are strong and can stand.
Education stakeholders say the significance of this agreement goes beyond salaries. After years of uncertainty, universities will finally be able to run uninterrupted academic calendars, a key demand from students and parents. At the Obafemi Awolowo University in Ile-Ife, local ASU leaders have welcomed the development, describing it as a possible pathway to a more sustainable university system if implementation follows words.
Well, I think it's that of excitement because at least we are making progress. Making progress in the sense that we are no longer going to be talking about 2009 FGN ASU agreement. We will now be making reference to 2025 ASU FGN agreement. And another thing is that it is this same government that is signing this agreement. So we hope that this government will implement it. It's not going to be like the agreement, they were not the one that signed it. And the things that are in this agreement are not implementable. So I feel good. Fine, just like I said earlier, it's not what we are looking for, but at least it's better than where we are now. I still don't have the full details of what's in the agreement, but based on what we have discussed before the agreement is finally signed, we believe that it will better the lot of Nigerian students in terms of facilities, in terms of amount of money that will be pumped into the university system, in terms of funding, so that we'll be able to get at least little things that will be able to give us a better working condition.
It's a sign of positive, improvement in our educational system. It's a step, or one of the steps that the government had to take to ensure stability in the universities in Nigeria. But we must understand one thing, that always our union is ready to do what we are expected to do, ready to go wherever we are expected to go. Before now, it has always been a problem for the government to respect the agreement they entered into with us willingly. Okay, as far as we are concerned, if we signed an agreement that was based on collective bargaining, I think it is also a point of duty for the government to, at this point, also respect that agreement.
Still, the story is not entirely closed. While ASU's component of the agreement has been finalized, discussions concerning other segments of the university workforce are still evolving. For now, attention shifts from negotiation tables to implementation, because in Nigeria's education history, promises have often been made. This time, the true test will be whether this agreement finally holds.
By virtue of our nature, right, we are a union of academics. And since we belong to the academia, that unionism, that comradeship within us, we cherish it. Why do you say we cherish it? To many, it's something that, they could be happy and joyous about. But some of us, it's just a little drop in the ocean. Why do I say that? Go through whatever. Go through the components of the agreement. You'll find out that for some of us, I would say, that are in Abuja, Kano, Port Harcourt, and this Lagos, what we pay as rent here is what some of us will use to pay for 5-year rent. So what's joyous, right, about that? But because of the link, because of the fact that we are we have to take care and equally consider the interests of our members, irrespective of our numbers in other branches. We have to accept it. But that's not an average lecturer here, right, cannot go to town joyously about it. So we take it, or we have taken it with a cautious optimism.
It's a very good development. I think we need to thank the present government because we have a very long time to reach this agreement since 2009, and they signed this one this year, which is a plus for the government and our union, and I think it's a positive development. The expectation is that there is more to that agreement. We have seen the part A, which is the working tools allowance, but which is 40% of whatever we are getting now. And it will actually encourage some young lecturers, some young graduates who have minimum of master's degree to come to university to come and lecture. The aim of that signing of the agreement is to stop brain drain. Although it's very, very small, but compared to the economic reality now, I think we can say, okay, let us take this one and see what will happen in the following year.
My expectation now is that there should be prompt implementation of whatever has been signed now. And we should not be in the situation we were when the last 2009 was signed, that we have to wait another 16 years before another one, we have to negotiate for another one. Since the agreement ordinarily will always stay about 3 years, so that by the expiration 3 years, we should be able to know that we are going to new one, so that we have it implemented on time also. Because whatever that is signed now is just because we have seen that the government has shown some level of positivity, at least to let us move from where we are coming from 2009. So it's not as if whatever is signed now is superb. It's not superb. But for us to move forward so that we can have a new shot, that's why we take this one as it is, with the hope that whatever the government is also owing us, we have so many other allowances, promotional arrests that's being owed, that they are going to pay it on time. So that's what I'm expecting government to do, so that we don't want to hear that there's no backing in terms of financial backing for what has been signed. I wish the minister has also said that there's going to be no problem concerning that. So that's what I'm expecting from government, that should be prompt implementation, and we can now move from there.
On the profile interview segment this week, I'll be speaking with the Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa. He tells me why it's of utmost importance for industrial harmony to remain in the education sector, while also speaking about the President's intention towards enhancing education in Nigeria. It's good to have you on the program. Finally, I get to sit with you after trying to reach you for several weeks. And congratulations on signing an MOU between the federal government and ASUU after more than 19 years of failed negotiation.
19 years, it was 2009. The federal government, the stalemate in the agreement between the federal government and ASUU. But it's about leadership. When you have a president, President Bola Ahmed believes so much in education as a bedrock of our society. In our quest, the president's quest for us to build a modern, productive, and prosperous society, education has to be front and center. And that's why, where we are today, the signing of this agreement, the breaking of these 19-year-old genes can only be attributed to the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that took charge, gave all the support and the highest level of political will to us as the Federal Ministry of Education as we negotiated with ASUU. And what we told ASUU initially, when we started this, that we would negotiate with you with respect, in true faith, and with all transparency. We would do what the government can afford, not come up with a bogus agreement. Because we have a president, and the person of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that believes in fulfilling every single promise he makes to Nigerian people, to any corporate entity in the country. You've seen when the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was campaigning, the then aspirant, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we had one of the longest strikes, about 8 months in our university history. President sent people, his chosen negotiators, to meet with ASUU and tell them, I will pay you your salaries and I will take care of whatever issues you've been fighting for. They agreed that they will pay 50% of those salaries. Within 6 months of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu being sworn in, he paid 5 months of the salary, even met more than the 50% he had agreed with them. And he now went a step further because he made the commitment to them that I would solve your problems. So the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, move expeditiously to direct us to begin negotiation with ASU.
It's the first time a sitting president will take ownership of a negotiation. I know that you've said so much about the president fulfilling its campaign promises. Beyond fulfilling campaign promises, what's the drive?
Well, the drive is very simple. We need to keep our children in school. Enough of all strike. And what we're doing as a government is to put sustainability in everything we do. We went to this a negotiation with ASU to address every single issue they've had in the last, from the 2009 agreement. Now, let me talk about this ASU agreement. Before we got to this signing of the finalization of the agreement, they had the 2009 agreement, and then the Professor Mimi Briggs agreement of 2017, Professor Monzali. The 2009 agreement was signed between the government, federal government, and ASU. The 2017 agreement wasn't signed. We wrote everything together into the 2025 agreement. And even before we signed the agreement, all the low-hanging issues that ASU had, we continue to take care of those issues. About the end academic allowances, that was resolved. About migration back from IPs to a payment platform where their personnel costs will be paid, that was resolved. About moving their research grant and endowment fund, University Tertiary Institution Research Grant and endowment fund from TSA into their commercial bank of their choice, of their own picking, that was taken care of. And also, the promised needs assessment. And let me tell you about the needs assessment. ASU negotiated with the government about 20 years as well, that they need significant infrastructure a fund infusion into the universities. Government promised them 1 trillion. That almost 2 decades ago, it wasn't funded. I think after they went to another strike about 8 years ago, the government of President Jonathan gave some money, 200 billion, or I can't remember exactly, and it was as part of that the agreement. Since then, nothing happened. President promised them that I will give you 200 billion. So far, the president has released 100 billion. In fact, we just got another tranche of, we got the second tranche of the 50 billion. It's been sitting in the needs assessment account for almost 3 months now. We're waiting for the universities and the other tertiary institutions to finalize the deployment of those funds. And Mr. President has also directed the chairman of FRS and the accountant general, as well as Minister of Finance, to give us the last 2 tranches of 100 billion. And the plan was, in fact, we should have gotten the last 2 tranches, but the delay came from us. I'm not at the Minister of Education in finalization of the way those funds will be spent.
I can see that the federal government is keen on effective collaborations. Can you bring us up to speed on some of the collaborations that the ministry has been able to, take up towards enhancing the education sector?
What exact collaboration? There are many collaborations, yes.
But let's discuss about the most recent one, which would be the signing of MOU between University of Lagos and the University of Birmingham, and maybe the CBN sign-off to the University Vice Chancellor.
Okay, that is part of this is part of our agenda, our government agenda, to bring world-class education to our citizens in this country as well. You've seen we just signed the memorandum of understanding between University of Birmingham, a Russell 24 University, one of the top 100 universities in the world, with University of Lagos. And what this memorandum of understanding aims to accomplish is for us to leapfrog into our transnational education, a collaboration and partnership between University of Birmingham and University of Lagos, where they will run their courses here in University of Lagos, where Nigerian students will be able to now get their degrees here, undergrad and postgraduate degrees here, and they will not have to go to the United Kingdom for those degrees. And there are several areas there. Also at the postgraduate levels, we've looked at the area of needs. We're talking about masters and PhDs in the area of data science, AI, robotics, international business, and also a master program in global surgical training. So areas of where we have core needs in the country, where we now can help build our own faculty to give them world-class international level education, so that when they go to those classrooms and lecture auditoriums, and when they supervise their students' thesis, research work, they will also incorporate this high level of education into those students. And as such, we will be breeding new set of generational leaders, student leaders that are now well educated. And also this partnership will also help us in area of research, where we can get faculty members to engage, to collaborate with international researchers, international universities, and do more research, and also in areas of innovation. And as we do this, we're building capacity in our tertiary institutions. And the University of the agreement, this relation, this transnational education between the University of Birmingham and the University of Lagos is just the beginning. We're going to get many more international world-class universities to come to Nigeria. If I was talking to one of the private universities yesterday, they also are talking with another top university in the UK that will be coming. I can't disclose the name, but in the next few months, the country will be hearing about it. This is now global, bringing global best practices into our education system. And that's what we're doing. The significant transformation of what's happened in the entire education sector, from foundational level, secondary level, and universities.
Funding of education remains a global conversation, and there's been this conversation as regards what should be allocated to education across different countries, or what should be the benchmark. Can you tell us, is there a need for stronger legislation to enhance funding of education, not just in Nigeria, but across the world?
It's not about a global benchmark or percentage of education. It's about the quantum of money that has been infused into education. Somebody was telling me yesterday, Nigeria is actually one of the models they're looking in Africa now. In the last 2 years, the amount of money we've invested, we've budgeted for education is enormous. So it's a percentage is relative. Look at the absolute amount of money going to education. For the first time in the history of our country, in the last 2 budgetary allocations, the education sector has gotten the highest budgetary allocation in the last 2 successive years, courtesy of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And this is just not budgetary allocation. We're getting the money. We have more money. We've gotten more money in TED Fund. And in the 2024 TED Fund spending cycle, we instructed all the beneficiary institutions to do 5 things with their direct intervention fund: to rehabilitate student classrooms, auditoriums, engineering workshops, faculty offices, and invest in instructional materials. That's what they've done in the last 2024. We're going to follow suit with that again in 2025 spending cycle. We're going to follow suit in that as well, to continue this extensive rehabilitation of student hostels as well as faculty offices, lecture theaters, and engineering workshops. About 200 billion of TED Fund funding went to rehabilitating 18 medical schools across the 6 geopolitical zones, to help them double capacity in the number of doctors they can admit, dentists, pharmacists, and quadruple capacity in the number of nursing students. All those before you go there, as all this rehabilitation is going on, and we're following suit in this 2026. We'll be investing 100 billion of TED Fund money to improve our engineering workshop in the Federal University of Technologies and some chosen conventional universities faculty of engineering. And this fund, this 100 billion, will be spent to improve and rehab engineering and technology workshops in these universities, buy modern engineering and technology equipment, or build new engineering and technology workshops in these chosen universities.
Now that the federal government has been able to sign an agreement that takes care of the teaching staff and maybe some part of the non-teaching staff, can you tell us what would be your expectations from ASU members and maybe some other workers within the university system?
The way we're negotiating with all unions, academic and non-academic unions, we've rolled up that negotiation into one committee, the Alhaji Yahya Ahmed committee, that has negotiated successfully with ASU. The Alhaji Yahya Ahmed and his committee they have ongoing negotiation as I speak to you now with the Polytechnic, Academic Union and Non-Academic Union. The same thing with the colleges of education, academic and non-academic union. Because you look at it, a lot of their needs, a lot of their pressing issues, about 80% of them, it's almost the same, and but each of them have their own, at about 20% they have their peculiar issues. And that's why we have to do these negotiations in targeted manner. I can't tell you that, oh, what we offer ASU is what we're going to offer everybody. Their needs are different. So it has to be boutique style arrangement that will give each of these unions. But what I can promise you, that we will resolve their grievances, we will resolve their needs in a way that they are happy and in a way that it doesn't become burdensome on the government to implement.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
And that's all we can take on today's edition of the program. Join us next week for a fresh edition of the show. I am Sharon Ijason. Thanks for watching, and remember that labor creates wealth.